So, we are talking about SME IPOs today, right? I mean, I've heard they're kind of different from the regular ones, but I'm not really sure how.
Right. So you're talking about the difference between SME IPOs and mainboard IPOs. Well, the main thing is that SME IPOs are for smaller companies, whereas mainboard IPOs are for much larger, more established firms.
Okay, that makes sense. So, like smaller companies trying to raise money. But what does that mean for actually getting the shares, like the allotment process?
Well, it means a few key things actually. For instance, the issue size, how many shares are up for grabs, is usually smaller with SME IPOs, which can lead to a lot more people wanting in.
So like more competition for fewer shares. That sounds like a tough raffle to win.
Exactly. And many SME IPOs have a fixed price instead of the book building process used in mainboard IPOs, where the price is sort of decided based on demand.
So it's like you pay this price or nothing. No wiggle room?
Exactly, you've got it. And also, there's a fixed lot size. You have to buy a certain number of shares, unlike mainboard IPOs, where you can often apply for multiple lots.
So it's all or nothing in a set amount. That changes things, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the shares are usually traded in lots after listing on the SME platform, not individually like mainboard shares. So the whole trading process is also different.
Okay, so different rules all around. So how does the allotment, like the actual choosing of who gets shares, work then?
Well, it's all very carefully regulated by SEBI, the Securities and Exchange Board of India. They make sure the process is fair and transparent.
Okay, good to know. It's not just a free for all. So how does someone even apply?
Most people apply through ASBA, which is applications supported by blocked amount. This basically means the money gets blocked in your account until the allotment is done.
Oh, so the money doesn't actually leave until you get the shares. That's smart.
Yeah, it's pretty convenient. Some brokers also allow you to use UPI, which is another instant way to block your funds.
Right. So different ways to apply. But then what if there's like way too many people applying?
Well, that's very common actually. In SME IPOs, it's called oversubscription. The demand exceeds the supply of shares.
And then what? Is it like a lottery system then? Everyone just crossing their fingers?
Yeah, it can be actually. SEBI has rules to ensure fair allotment. If the retail category is oversubscribed, which is often the case, they usually allot shares using a lottery system or on a proportional basis.
So it's random or like sometimes they give a percentage to everyone. I guess there's no guarantee, huh?
No, absolutely no guarantee. That's why it's important to be realistic. They also have categories for high net worth individuals or HNIs. And sometimes their allotment works a little differently, although less commonly.
So it's not exactly the same for everyone. Okay.
That's right. And sometimes they do use a combination of methods like proportional and lottery basis for allotment.
Okay, that makes things a little clearer. So you find out if you got lucky, right? How does that happen?
Well, if you get the allotment, you'll receive a confirmation from your broker or your depository participant, and the money gets debited from your account.
So they actually take the money if you're in the lucky winner circle.
Yes, and if you don't get an allotment, the blocked amount is released back to your bank account, so it's not permanently gone.
Okay, that's good. At least you get your money back quickly. How long does it usually take for that to happen?
Usually it takes a few working days, around 2 or 3, to unblock the funds. The ASBA process ensures it's not actually taken from you unless you get shares.
So it's all kind of interconnected. It all happens pretty fast. Then the shares just show up in your account, right?
That's right. Then the shares you were allotted get credited to your demat account. And then after that, they get listed on the SME platform.
And after that, it's just trading away.
Well, mostly. You can start trading your shares, but it's good to remember that on SME platforms, you generally trade in lots, not individual shares, and they can be more volatile, up and down more.
Okay, so you've got to know the rules of that particular playground. Makes sense. So any key advice for someone diving into SME IPOs?
Well, firstly, do your homework, research the company really well. Don't just jump on the hype train, because these are smaller, riskier companies.
So read the fine print, look at the company itself, not just the buzz.
Absolutely. And assess the risk. SMEs are riskier than the well-established larger companies. That's why it's important to know what you're getting into.
So it's not like buying stock in a blue chip. It's a different ball game.
Exactly. And don't over-apply thinking it'll get you more shares. It doesn't work that way and ties up your capital. And also, never apply through multiple accounts with the same PAN number.
Okay, so no trying to game the system. What else should we know about these SME IPOs?
Well, they're ideally for a long-term view. Liquidity could be an issue, meaning it might not be as easy to sell your shares quickly as compared to mainboard stocks. So just be aware of that.
So it's a long-term investment and you have to stick it out. Okay, that's some good advice. So what is it that makes them so different than regular IPOs?
Well, it's mostly the size, risk, and the different trading rules. And, SEBI has been cracking down on manipulations to make the market safer, which is good.
Okay, so they're keeping a close eye on things and trying to make it fair.
Exactly. The main goal is increased transparency for investors so they can make informed decisions about SMEs.
That's good. So what would you say if someone is considering, like, where should they start?
Start with research. Always, understand the company, understand the risks, and most importantly, understand that an allotment isn't guaranteed. It's often lottery based. And then proceed with caution.
Right. So it's all about knowing the rules of the game, doing your homework, and not putting all your eggs in one basket. It's like navigating a maze when the walls keep changing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a very good analogy, actually. Yes. So, what about you? Are you ready to dive into the world of SME IPOs after all this?